noticed you were talking to Governor Hickenlooper earlier at the reception. Did you know that this year's historic laureates have something in common with him?
Geez, Maggie, I don't think he looks that old.
No, I meant that they focus their entrepreneurial energy on beer. I mean, I might not go into the beer business, but junior achievements prepared me for success in really any career path I choose to take.
I'll drink to that. Cheers.
Don't worry, it's root beer. Please turn your attention to the video and learn more about businessmen, entrepreneurs, and philanthropists Philip and Adolph Zang.
Around the turn of the last century, a father and son's entrepreneurial spirit planted the seed for Colorado as a brewing mecca.
Philip Zang immigrated from Germany with his wife Elizabeth.
The couple eventually settled in Louisville, Kentucky, and had Adolph Zang in 1856.
By 1859, Philip had opened a brewery there that he called Zang and Company. He ran it for about 10 years before coming west to Denver at the end of the 1860s, where he joined up with John Good to be the head brewmaster at the Rocky Mountain Brewery.
It was not doing well when he arrived, and by 1871 he purchased it outright from its owner.
Philip Zang was part of a wave of German immigration that came to the United States in the decades before the Civil War. They brought with them a taste for lager beer, and it took the country by storm.
Under Philip, the brewery did very well, and by the 1890s they were producing about 150,000 barrels a year.
And in 1889, it was Adolph who was in charge of the brewery when he sold it to an English syndicate of investors. Adolph stayed on as president and served in that capacity until 1912.
The Zangs were known for their ingenuity.
Zang's was near the front of the industry in terms of individual packaging. When the crown cap, the cap that we have today, was invented, it made it possible to individually package bottles en masse.
In 1899, the Zang Brewery commissioned this billboard, and it was, for a time, was the largest billboard west of the Mississippi. They bought a very large tract of land. That eventually it became known as Zang's Spur, because it was right on the railroad and they could load right there. And that eventually became the town of Brookfield.
So while he was still president of the brewery, Adolph diversified his interests into banking, real estate, and particularly mining, and he was one of the founders of the Vindicator gold mining company up near Cripple Creek.
He was also involved in the establishment of Lakeside. And the reason they did that was to get around the blue laws in Denver, where you could not serve beer on Sundays. So they spent about $800,000 to build what was originally called the White City and was modeled after the World's Fair in Chicago, and it had dance halls and a little beer garden there. They were involved in the establishment of the Oxford Hotel, which is still there, and the Cosmopolitan Hotel, which was demolished in the 1980s, but was pretty large, sort of competitor to the Brown Palace.
The family had an extraordinary house, the Zang Mansion, which is still in Denver today.
Zang Brewery tried to make it through Prohibition by making near beer, which was very, very low alcohol beer, and ice cream, and it was just more than they could handle. So by 1927, they went out of business. And when you start digging in, you can see their hand in everything from city government to business organizations.
Really through their hard work, both father and son, that they built this brewery into the largest brewery and one of the largest businesses in the Rocky Mountain region in the early decades of the 20th century.
Let's have a round of applause for the pioneering spirits of Philip and Adolph Zang.